Hello, good morning. Welcome to my channel here from Los Angeles, where we'll be traveling over to Montreal and then Paris in France. Glorious Paris, of all its regality and Frenchness, it's a wonderful city and well worth a visit. For this journey, we'll be taking 2 short flights on Air Canada in economy class via Montreal. A gentle reminder here to please subscribe, like and notify if you want to see more of these flight reviews. The first flight is from LAX to Montreal, which is about 5 hours long, and then the second flight is to Paris from Montreal, which is about another 6 hours, all in economy class. Hi, good morning from LAX. I'm actually at the hotel, one of the hotels in LAX. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm flying on to Paris today, but I'm flying via Montreal on Air Canada. So my first flight will be from LAX up to Montreal, and then Montreal over to Paris. So probably a total travel time of about 16 hours in economy. Yeah, not really looking forward to the economy bit, but it was a pretty cheap fare, and I needed to do this trip. So come join me on this Air Canada economy review on 2 planes. See ya. So an early morning start here at LAX with the traffic. So far it's not so bad and the airport is not so busy. You can see here a pretty quiet check-in concourse. There was no one waiting in line. It was great. The staff were super friendly and made check-in very stress-free. As we are flying economy class today, there is no lounge to review, so walking around and exploring the airport was the option. I did want to find some breakfast though, so stopped at one of the eateries here in the main terminal area. Wolfgang Puck has a big presence here with his own marketplace, but I didn't eat here, there wasn't time. Even though it seemed quiet in the concourse, there were many passengers waiting to fly out to their destination of choice. Being hungry, I eventually stopped at one eatery and headed to breakfast, which was not so great quality and was, of course, airport prices very expensive. Taking the time to do some plane spotting here, we see plenty of Alaska planes and a couple of Spirits. This is our first aircraft for the 16-hour journey, one of the older Airbus 330 aircraft for this 5-hour flight to Montreal. In the background, you can see a couple of United planes. Boarding was quick despite not flying any premium class travel. Initial impressions are that the cabin is very clean and tidy with the signature dark blue and grey colour schemes. I got comfortable in my economy class seat ready for this flight, and I chose the economy class for the price and the fact that it's only a 5-hour flight. A side view here with the seating, you can see the configuration on this Airbus 330 is a 242 and the leg space is quite minimal. There was an adjusting headrace which could be flexed a little for comfort. But cramped is definitely the operative word. The seat was narrow, as you would expect for this class of service. An obvious older plane, though the IF screen I thought was a good size for economy. This is a problem. The legroom is very tight and comfort is not on the formula. Later, this legroom was going to cause a problem. I'm just under 6 feet and lack of movement would later on cause some mobility issues for me. Safety being very important, the safety car for this Air Canada A330 was easy to understand as it should be. No meal on this flight to Canada from the US, so there was a menu for purchase options with lots of choices. What I did like is there was a choice to purchase a business class breakfast or a main dinner lunch meal for a reasonable price. I didn't do this though, now I wish I had just to see what it was like. Outside was a bit of a dreary day with the weather, so I was flying for Europe. There was a lot of waiting around on this plane before taxi and takeoff, which added to the issue of being uncomfortable for the journey. Here we can see some more Alaska and United planes. Finally getting ready to leave the airport, and at this point I was wishing there was a premium economy option, which there was not. Time for takeoff, which was fast and efficient. Some nice views here of the uninteresting area of El Segundo Airport. They were flying over the Pacific Ocean before we turn around and fly overland to Canada. Thanks for your support with this growing channel. Please hit subscribe and notify if you want to see more flight reviews and travel adventures. So part of the in-flight entertainment system was broken completely and showing the real age of the plane and its seating. The tray table was quite narrow though, pulled out without any issues or problems. Took another look at the menu with the business class breakfast as an option I didn't take. Same with the business class dinner, looks delicious and is a great idea and not expensive. Wi-Fi was available on the flight for a purchase. No mail service to be seen on this journey, so we're now over Canadian airspace, heading into Montreal. Just look at the grey, gloomy weather Canada has to offer on this May morning. Landing into Montreal was smooth and perfect despite the weather. Arriving into Air Canada terminal was quick with the plane to clear customs here before heading over to the next plane for Paris. Here is another Canadian airline called Air Transat. I haven't done them yet. Inside the terminal was a nice shape and had lots of space. There are lots of flights out of Montreal and I didn't realise how busy this place could become. Air Canada being a Star Alliance member, there are lots of those aircraft hanging around at the airport. The second flight seemed to be quite full also, which meant, of course, limited economy space. At this point, despite being open-minded about economy travel, there is hesitation because I know that basic comfort is going to be an issue. A bit of plane spotting on Austrian plane heading to Vienna. This is a good headshot of our Boeing 777 aircraft for this transatlantic part of the journey. Noted not the usual pale blue coloured aircraft body, but black and white instead. Inside the cabin, the main colour scheme is blues and greys, all dark in colour. Here you get to see behind the premium economy cabin, which looks quite nice with good leg space. The leg space here, again in economy, is quite minimal and looks and was very uncomfortable. For 6 hours I will have to deal with this legroom issue. This is a shame that a major carrier and a legacy airline opts for this type of cramped plane capacity. Despite that, there is a functional IFE screen which seems modern and is a good size. Yep, this is horror and I will soon know how this will impact the rest of my 2 weeks trip in Europe. On the brighter side, this safety card for this 777 is excellent and easy to understand. The tray table was a modest size and easy to operate. I enjoyed the movie options on their IFE system and the phone charger was great. So flying completely over the Atlantic Ocean tonight will take about 6.5 hours. Dinner was served, which was a small economy style portion, but quite delicious. This was a chicken type dish with potatoes, quite nice and no complaints about the taste. Time for some much anticipated sleep. Despite the legroom issue, I did sleep a few hours while crossing the sea. And an hour or so before landing, a continental breakfast was served of yogurt and a slice of fruitcake. Small, but really good. Another quick look at the entertainment options for the IFE system on their touchscreen. One more hour to go, flying over Irish airspace to get into Paris on time, which is always good. And 45 minutes to go while flying over Birmingham in the UK. So good morning to a wonderful Paris, and it was a glorious day. Got very lucky with the weather. So Air Canada provided a friendly service in the sky. The cabin crew were great, but the legroom is absolutely terrible. So if you're short, you're okay, but taller people will just end up with some massive leg discomfort, which I did, and it affected my mobility for the rest of the journey. I was so devastated. Getting packed into a plane like this is no bueno, Air Canada. Thank you all for watching.